Mm, 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 mm. Y'all, would you look at here, look at here, look at here, look at here. Look at here, look at here, look at here, look at here. Let me hear you say, Let me hear you say, Y'all, we are back in the building with a little bit of tea, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of spice, and a little bit of not so nice. We got a little bit of tea for you guys with regards to the Super Bowl fallout, with regards to Jill Zarin, you know, who was supposed to had been pretty much leading the charge with regards to, the show on E, which is currently under the Versant um, business. E is no longer it's not part of the NBC Universal family. So I want to clarify that because not a lot of people realized that E is no longer under the NBC Universal umbrella. Okay. So basically, the show on E ain't got nothing to do with Bravo. All right. Let's just say that. All right. So let's get into the fireization of Zaron. All right. Um, after she saw the Super Bowl, she went into a tailspin and she had a conniption online. And she essentially, she was wondering where were the white people in the Bad Bunny performance? Where are the white folks? Is what she was asking. Where were they? Where were the white people? According to Jill, where were they? They were, according to her, non-existent. Then 2 seconds later, she's talking about Lady Gaga and her face. Lady Gaga is Italian American. Hmm. Mm. You know, Here's the thing about speaking online and giving commentary and giving opinions. There's a fine line that a lot of us walk, right? And that fine line is providing commentary on pop culture, entertainment, but in a way, like, everybody has their own way of doing it. Let me start there. Everybody has their own way of doing it. And for me, it seemed as though Jill, and I might be the minority in this, it seemed to me that Jill was trying to take a page out of the Bethany Frankel book. Bethany, who seemingly posted something most recently and deleted that, but I don't know what it was. So I got to go into the archives and find that because the people are talking about that too. And I don't know if it was in reaction or response to this. But Bethany has made a name for herself most recently by providing a lot of commentary on social media regarding pop culture. Bethany is essentially an influencer at this stage of the game. And let me say this. I want to make myself bigger as I say it. There is Do you guys follow Gary V? Do you know who Gary V is? Okay, so if you don't know, I'll tell you. Gary V is like he is a huge marketer, right? And so I'm going somewhere with this. So just follow along, right? Gary Vee is a huge marketer, and he talks a lot about. I don't know if you have any of his books, but he talks a lot about social media and your place in it, and really about the volume of social media output. And so that is something that Bethany has definitely mastered. And I'm going back to Jill in 1 second. One of the things I think had happened was, I don't know if you guys had seen, Bethany made a comment, or she commented about this new show, The Golden Life, that was coming out on E, and it was starring the OGs of New York. Now, for me, I thought smart play for those ladies, because Bravo was definitely not bringing any of them back, right? They'll work with Luann because I think they like Luann. They like the business of Luann. I can see where they're going with Luann. But the rest of those girls, I mean, outside of Dorinda, they're still in the business of Dorinda. So Dorinda is still in the mix. But with regards to Jill, there always been this thing about Jill that just never seemed to really lock step with the network. And it always felt to me like Jill is her own worst enemy. If you have ever followed this show, the Real Housewives of New York, or Bravo in general, you will know that Jill has always seemingly kind of messed up her own bag with the network. And it's sad to say that it seems to be the situation is happening all over again for her. And in my opinion, and seeming to follow along in the Bethany footsteps, because here's the thing, we know that social media and being present and visible on social media is where it's at right now. Everybody is taking up space on social media, as they should, right? Because it usually involves an expansion or marketing for what you are actually doing. So for Jill now being on this show, she, I am certain, was wanting to capitalize on social media to ignite excitement for the show, The Golden Life. And in doing so, it feels like she did not necessarily have her fingers on the pulse of what makes Bethany's strategy work for her. So this is, again, my opinion. In my opinion, trying to leverage social media, current events, pop culture, Jill tried to take a similar approach and give her opinions about something that she had a controversial opinion on. And in doing so, she unfortunately seemed to be her own undoing. So now you have a situation where everybody, The View, I mean, other Bravo celebrities, Andy, people are wanting to distance themselves from those comments that she made about the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance, because it was not centered around her existence or what she felt she wanted to see in order to be entertained. Mind you, I think Kid Rock was performing somewhere. She could have easily tuned into that. She could have easily gotten up from her station on the couch, gone to the restroom, to the loo, gotten something to eat, called a friend, something else, if she was not enjoying it. Furthermore, she could have kept that opinion to herself, because yes, you can have opinions in this country. Yes, you can speak those opinions on social media. But yes, be prepared that there could be some unintended consequences to your opinions. Okay? And as such, she finds herself in this situation where now it says, through E, the show's producers, Blink 49 Studios, issued a statement on Tuesday, cutting ties with Zarin. In light of recent public comments made by Jill Zarin, Blink 49 Studios has decided not to move forward with her involvement in The Golden Life. We remain committed to delivering the series in line with our company's standards and values. I mean, shout out to, first of all, Queens of Bravo. Shout out to E. Um, Here's the thing about, this girl, you didn't have to say girl, girl. I don't even know what you know, it's probably for the best that we saw this aspect of how she feels right now before the network invested their hard-earned finances, resources into someone that has these types of views. And we know that there are plenty of people out there that do, but I don't want to see that type of negative. It's just, oh my God, girl. Like, uh and then also to add insult to, well, not to add to the mix, okay? Xarin Fabrics, which is, I think that's the name of the company that was technically her late husband's company. They too stand firmly against racism, discrimination, and rhetoric that seeks to exclude or diminish people based on identity, culture, or background. They said, we want to be absolutely clear that Jill has not had ownership of or been associated with Zarin Fabrics for several years. Our company operates independently, and any public statements attributed to her are made in a personal capacity and do not reflect our values, beliefs, or operations. Zarin Fabrics is built on creativity, collaboration, and respect for the diverse communities that shape art, culture, and expression. We condemn language or viewpoints that undermine these principles, and we remain committed to fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment in everything that we do. Because you see, what I think people are failing to realize is that while there are voices out there that are extremely loud, that really just don't want to embrace the clear, diverse landscape that we all live in right now, there is clearly, clearly a wide group of us who celebrate it still, and we will not tolerate anything less than respect and love. Period. Period. And that's just that. And um, regardless of the things that you see happening, there are still people out there who want to champion, okay, diversity. Boom. And that's it. That's it. Simply Sumar, thank you, my brother, says classic case of F around and find out. Just because you say something doesn't mean that you should. And I think she thought that perhaps this was going to, I don't know what she thought. I don't know what she thought what her purpose was at the end of the day with posting this was. Maybe to have a controversial opinion, but you would, I mean, as bad as it seems that this woman wants to still be on television, it would seem as though you would do anything in your power to make sure that that gig stays intact. And so that then, thank you for the super chat, Shamar. But that also raises the question. Just imagine what is being said when the cameras are not rolling. Girl, and you film that's with your own camera. They did. They said, "No, don't how we get in it? We not in that." And they distanced themselves from that thing real quick, as they should. I mean, it ma'am. Oh, my. We have an additional story for you guys. An additional I was reading your comments, my apologies. So, I saw this and I had to talk about it real quick because I have not first of all, shout out to No Chaser underscore TV. Make sure you guys are following them. I had asked this question on my TikTok. I Side note, let me ask you guys a question. I have a real question for y'all. Are any of y'all still on TikTok? If you are, let me know. I'm really trying to make a determination about whether or not I'm gonna stay on there. I don't really care for their privacy policy as with the updates that they've made. So I'm just really thinking of like axing it all together and just focusing on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and LinkedIn. Period. So let me know if you guys are still on there. I'm just trying to make a decision and a determination. I haven't been physically on there since like sometime early last week. So I'm just trying to determine if I'm gonna keep my if I'm gonna like keep it there or just get rid of it altogether. I don't know. My thought about it was I could just download all my videos, put them on fan base. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Um, I'm still I hate to throw away so much work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure it out. With that being said, I did ask this question the other day on TikTok, and I think I posted no, well, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I posted it on um Instagram as well. And then of course, the news came out about Joy and Clifton, that the unfortunate um, you know, divorce. Or maybe fortunate, depending on how they look at it. I don't know, right? I don't see either of them, but I think I follow. I know I think I follow Joy on Instagram, but I do not happen. I don't go out like that anyway. So that's number one. So I'm not right like out on the town. I mean, I think the most I typically would run into somebody is if I'm at Box Five. I might go out to dinner or something, but otherwise, I'm not like out there. I'm not like I don't go out a lot. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay, because I will deviate in a second. Carlos, this was probably last night, when they do their Monday night lives. And, you know, Carlos was saying he does not know. Because a lot of y'all was like, text Carlos, as Dr. Heavenly says. He says that he does not know when or if Love and Marriage DC will ever come back. What the situation is. He says he's hoping to know within a couple of weeks, but he is fighting for the show. I have long since been an advocate for Love and Marriage DC. I feel like because I know so many of them on a personal level, I do think that so many of them have a lot to give. And it was super unfortunate that I do believe that the show was I don't think that its rollout was handled the best that it could have been, like, with the gap between season 2 A and B. I wish that that had been done completely differently because I felt like that slowed down the momentum of the show, and that just created a bunch of chaos that was completely unnecessary. From my understanding, I don't think that that has any I don't think that Carlos has anything to do with how the show is rolled out. I think what they probably do is film the episodes and turn them in, and the network determines when they're going to be rolled out. So I know that a lot of people will likely try to, well, not I don't say try to, but probably without the lack of knowledge and understanding of how TV works, they will likely blame him for that. But that is usually a network decision with how those things actually are rolled out. Now, with that being said, they would probably have to cast anew, right? They would probably have to cast, because I don't know that everybody. I mean, I don't know who. I kind of have an idea of who definitely would come back. I kind of have an idea of who would maybe need a little bit of a nudging to come back, and who probably would not coming back, right? With that being said, I think we would need to start casting right now. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that I know it all, and because I don't, certainly not. But I do feel as though if you are casting for Love and Marriage DC, I think I could point you in the right direction. Okay. I think I could point you in the absolute right direction with who it should be. Okay. Can y'all hear me? Now, it might have gone out if I moved back from this, but we are talking about Love and Marriage DC. And no, Meredith, no. You know what is funny? I have no desire to do reality TV. I really don't. I would much prefer. Okay, cool. I would much prefer to, either work in story producing, executive producing, like just the production, and not. I don't want to be on the set every day. Okay. But in terms of the overall vision for the show, like I would rather have a hand in something like that. That is why I've started writing my own books. I just would prefer to. I don't have any desire to be on reality TV. I just don't. I feel like I've done it before, so I know what that feeling was like, and I'm good. I'm good on that. You know, mm-mm, not for me. Um, yes, y'all let Carlos know. Y'all let Carlos know. Yeah, I think I'm a behind the scenes type person now. I want to see other people shine. I want to give other people an opportunity to, do those things that they really want to do on camera. I like helping people. I like teaching people. Those are my strengths at this point. So, I just who else can we put on? That's pretty much the space that I reside in right now. Who else can we put on? Thank you, thank you. Based on your books, you would be awesome behind the scenes of a reality show. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I would. I feel like I would thrive there. You know. Um. So yeah, that's the update on Love and Marriage DC. Huntsville actually will be coming back, Miss DMV. It'll be back in March. But one of the things that I did see today floating around was a new trailer. It's actually they are doing, and I gotta give you some props on because y'all are doing really good promotion for Bell Collective. Let me see if I could pull up one of the new promos. I don't think I can play it because, well, y'all know how things go. I don't think OWN would be. I don't think OWN would have a problem if I played it. but I'll play a little bit and let me see. If I get in trouble for it, we'll know. We'll know. Look, we'll know in about a day or two. All right. I'm gonna play a little bit.
Keisha is currently blocked from my phone, my life, my social media, out of my mind.
I have not spoken to Latrice since the reunion.
So it appears as though this season is going to heavily focus on the heavy beef between Latrice and Letitia. So sad to me because I agree. I will tell you, Bell Collective is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites. I don't know what it is about these ladies. I mean, they definitely give me big country vibes. And what I mean by big country, I'm just saying, like, country. You know what I'm saying? Like down south, like it really gives you that vibe. And I think because I've been able to visit Jackson and meet the cast and hang out with them, for they had a huge press day a few seasons ago, and 3 of us were lucky enough to get an opportunity to go down there and spend some time with the cast. And we were really able to just sit with them, talk with them. And, this is when Gucci and Akeisha were first introduced to the cast. So to be able to have that experience with them and to visit, Ferris Street, which is what so much of the history of that show was about, it was just I feel like a connection with the show and a huge desire to see it succeed. I mean, it's not an insult. It's like I'm like I'm at my heart and my core, I'm big country. You know what I'm saying? I am big country. I'm a big old country boy. At the end of the day, I am. I probably don't sound as country as I do especially not online. But when you get around your family and stuff like that, you can be like, you can let the country out. So I am excited about that too. I'm sure they're probably getting started with filming that. So that's going to be really, really good. I've never been to Huntsville, and I think that maybe I need to. I've been trying to figure out a way to get down to Huntsville for some reason. There was an event that Melody had a few years ago that she had invited me to, but I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't go. Something was happening. I don't know if I was in the process of moving or if I had there was something happening big for me that I could not do. So I'm mad I missed that event. The women of DC are such big personalities and they're gorgeous. I think they are meant to be on TV. I'd like for it to come back. Yeah, if you meet, I think because I know most of that cast, like in real life, I love them. I love those people. I really, really do. Like they just have a special place in my heart. And I think that, and it's hard when I have to talk about them because we got to talk about it. But they don't really take what I say like personally. I don't think so. That's always a good thing. I feel like they more than anything appreciate some like the fact that I did care so much about the show. So I love that. Yeah, man, it was so nice. That was such a good experience. I'm forever grateful to own for that opportunity. I got to tell you, I personally feel like Ashley is completely misunderstood. When you get to know her, she's just a real she's just gonna tell you how she feels. She's just like that's how she is. That's just who she is. And I think in real life, I appreciate that type of personality because I feel like I always know where she stands. So I never have to guess. And she's fun. Like she's actually really, really fun. She's really, really, really fun. Okay. All right. So we got like one last story, y'all. One last story. This is about Andy. Listen. I didn't even know that this Oh, wait, before we get there. Ciao. Y'all know Crystal and Cynthia, they got the podcast, and it's called Humble Brags. So she was talking about the new season of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And baby, not Crystal saying the show is boring. And I said, well, it ain't nothing but the truth. Ooh. In the chat, y'all let me know who is watching Beverly Hills. They're getting ratings. I'm not gonna lie. So I can't hate on that. But who in the chat is watching Beverly Hills? Okay, so Spar is watching. Spar is watching. I wish you would recap the last episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. First, thank you for the super chat. Rachel Zoe was hilarious when Amanda opened her mouth. I could see your expression. Love the bells too. Man. Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a whirlwind. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, it's so funny to me how on podcasts, personalities like Crystals and like Robin Dixon, their personalities really shine on a podcast. But for some reason on the show, you don't really get that energy. And maybe because for Crystal, she was still trying to figure so much of it out. Or maybe I will tell you guys what ends up happening a lot of times with some reality TV shows is that the producers will have an idea of who you are. And so that is all you will see of that person. Okay. So if the producers feel like you're a stick in the mud, okay, they're going to showcase you being a stick in the mud all the time. So anytime you are being a stick in the mud, they're going to show it. Okay. That is your persona. That is the persona that you have been given because that is what they saw a couple of times. And so they will maximize that persona. So I feel like maybe perhaps what happened with Crystal is a combination of her still trying to figure it out. And then maybe they got a idea that maybe she was just a stick in the mud. And so that was the role that they gave her, and she never could escape that. But whatever the case, I don't feel like that is her in real life. I feel like this is probably more aligned with who she is. So I like what I get from her on podcast. And yeah, I like it. I like it. Come on, Crystal. You tell it like it. Tell it like a TI is. All these friends of Kyle that goes after Dorit, and Kyle is full of ish. If y'all are saying that Rachel Zoe is giving good TV, what about Rachel Zoe on this show? Because I'm not tuned in. What about Rachel on this show makes you guys gravitate to her so much? I've always been a Rachel Zoe fan since her days on her own show. So I want to know, is it that personality that she's bringing? Or is it something else that maybe was missing on the show that you guys feel like she's filling in a gap? I loved Rachel on her own show. Her fashion, okay. Ooh. Her realness, okay. She's funny and honest and not trying to fit in. Okay. 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 So that's good. That's good. You know, I'll check out if you guys say, okay, let me see in the chat. Do you guys think I should check out an episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? And if so, I will check out the most recent episode. Just write me a yes or a no. Okay. I like when Rachel Zoe was running around with, you know, the Starbucks cup in her hand that was as big as this. You know what I'm saying? And her giant sunglasses, bossing Taylor and Brad around. That's the Rachel Zoe I like. Y'all say no. Oh, God. Well, I didn't know if I was going to really talk about it. I was going to tell y'all whether or not I was correct in my assessment that it was boring I'm basing this on the clips. Okay, that's fair. See it for yourself. I like that advice. I'll watch it for myself. I'll report back to y'all what my thoughts are, and I'll leave it there. How about that? We'll do that. Okay. We got another story for y'all. Yeah. Stories on stories on stories. Where it at? Stand by. You know how you be thinking you got something cute and ready? I thought I had it cute and ready. All right, this is our last story, but it could be pretty major depending on what happens next. And we're going to shout out to our friends over at Mr. Housewives. Okay, so the lawsuit with Andy. Let's get into that. I don't know if you even remember this, y'all, but Leah McSweeney was a cast member on The Real Housewives of New York. You know, the OGs in their later seasons, right before they was axed and brought in the new boring people came in. And so I always felt like Leah was a complete mismatch for this show. I thought if you were going to cast Leah, you should have casted her for Summer House. She would have fit in much better with those young folks over there. I felt like that would have been more her vibe. She was, she just felt like she was mad out of place. And I just did not like it. Personally speaking, in my opinion, it was a huge miscast. Okay. I've always said that. So it made my viewing experience so much less exciting. So page 6, according to Mr. Housewives, is reporting that Andy is allegedly really worried about the lawsuit filed by Leah. Now, she filed this in 2024 and claimed that producers exploited her past struggles with the alcohol addiction, that they allegedly intentionally tried to push her towards relapse in hopes of creating dramatic television and boosting ratings. Now, a judge did dismiss certain parts of her lawsuit, but much of it has been allowed to proceed. So the judge is allegedly finding that there may be enough evidence to suggest that producers could have coerced or harassed Leah in connection with her addiction. Now, based on page 6 assessments, this could become the first lawsuit from a former Bravo employee that actually makes it to court. So all those other lawsuits, now we don't know where they went, right? Some have seemingly, gone kind of by the wayside. Nene Leakes is back, baby. The door is open. She is on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. But here, I think what you will remember is when Leah went to Thailand with the girls from that season, you know, there was what like people were wondering, girl, why aren't you drinking? You're not drinking. You're not drinking. What's going on with you? You're not drinking. You're not having fun. So if you also go back to her last season on the show, she was going through a sobriety journey then. Now, that came on the heels of her first season, where there was a lot of hot mess drinking, a lot of streaking going on, a lot of, you know, really carefree, seemingly drunken behavior / antics, which sometimes we don't mind watching, but sometimes it is a little bit juvenile. Okay. It toes the line. If you're going to be drunk on the telly, I would like for you to be the drunk that is, you know, ooh, I'm having a good old time. Oops, did I say that? Like, be there, but don't be naked wasted. Like, don't be cootie, like what they call it, cootie brown. You cannot. Don't be Cootie Brown, because I don't want to see it. Okay? I don't want to experience Cootie Brown in real life. But if you are Cootie Brown on TV, it's going to probably annoy me. Now, when Luann was Cootie Brown and she fell into the bushes, that was funny. Okay? You got to know what kind of Cootie Brown you get. Do you get violent Cootie Brown? Are you happy Cootie Brown? Are you going to get naked Cootie Brown? Are you a crying Cootie Brown? What kind of Cootie Brown are you when you drinking? And if you don't know that, then I don't want to know that you don't know either. Okay? And it seemed to me like Leah kind of was not knowing what kind of Cootie Brown she was. Or maybe I guess she definitely found out what kind of Cootie Brown she was when she watched the show back. And so maybe being that Cootie Brown, she made a determination, I don't want to be Cootie Brown like that no more. So let me stop the drinking. So according to her, it seems like they were trying to allegedly get her Cootie Brown again so she can, you know, rev up the show, you know, get some things going, stir up the juice, get the pot going. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But listen, girl, if you don't want to be Cootie Brown no more, you don't have to be. And don't let nobody make you. So page 6 is now speculating that Andy may have recently been, quote, making nice with some of his former critics and enemies, including Nene Leakes, Kathy Griffin, and Carol Radziwill, for reasons that could be connected to Leah's case. Now, I don't know if I believe that. I believe all of those relationships being mended are mutually beneficial. Nene, I'm sure, is happy to be back on Bravo. And you got to understand, y'all, it is difficult. I can only imagine it is difficult to maintain a years-long beef with someone, especially A, who you were friendly with, B, who has potentially some power to bring you back into the mix, right? It's probably so much easier to not be in conflict with somebody. So I would imagine that for some people, they just don't want that conflict anymore, whether or not because that person has power, notoriety, you know, or access. It is just difficult in real life to maintain a beef like that. So I don't know if that were the reason that he got back together with those people or they got back together with him, but I just feel like, you know. But anyway, Leah's lawsuit includes allegations that Andy engaged in inappropriate behavior with guests, including an accusation involving white powder use, which is something that Kathy Griffin had publicly accused him of back in 2017. Carol was also close with Andy during that period that Leah references. Now, Nene, y'all know she had sued the network in 2021 for discrimination, but that lawsuit was ultimately dismissed. Now, page 6 is basically kind of suggesting also that Nene's recent reappearance in Bravo circles could be tied to a larger behind-the-scenes motive, which would be, I'm assuming, to make nice with all the people that were against the network and Andy. So apparently they could be heading to court sooner than expected over this. And they're saying that Andy's alleged nervousness raises even more questions. Listen, she may have a case. I'm no legal expert outside of my Law and Order SVU University degree. Okay. But she could have a case if she can prove that maybe someone was maybe really coercing her to drink with, and I did know that I mean, I remember her having a story the last season that she was on, where essentially she was not trying to drink. She was trying to be on the sober train because she did not want to be Cootie Brown no more. So was someone indeed behind the scenes trying to make Leah Cootie Brown? We don't know. All we have to go on is what Leah is telling us. But I just want to let you know, Leah, that if you don't ever want to be Cootie Brown again, you don't have to be. Okay? Those days are behind you. So, they were. I mean, there was a lot of insinuation. There was a lot of talk about where the alcohol had led her. But my thing is, as an example of someone who has also dealt with their sobriety on the show, Luann, she had a whole situation too with the alcohol. And so they followed that journey of, will she drink or won't she drink? And ultimately, I felt like Leann made the decision that she would drink if she wanted to, but maybe she just would not get out of control. Maybe she wouldn't get Cootie Brown. So I always feel like if you have your limits, and some people maybe don't have that limit, litmus test, but that's why I always have like a 2 drink max, and maybe I might be 2.5, And matter of fact, I don't really drink a lot now anyway. And so I might have a smidge here and there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because sometimes sometimes you need one. Okay. And sometimes you don't. But I don't want to be Cootie Brown either. So Leah, I'm with you, girl. And then we're going to have to follow Karen on her sobriety journey. And then there are housewives that don't even drink altogether. So what do you say about those housewives? Do they take precedence into account in this type of case? Because I don't think that Candy drinks. So what do you say about those housewives who have a hard line, who are their cast and productions making them drink? But Leah's team could argue, well, that was a different production company. That's a different city. It's run totally different. The expectations are different. So I think you can do reality TV and not drink. But y'all remember Real Housewives of New York, that was a heavy drinking show. Like those girls was drinking. I've been drinking. Dorinda made it nice. So who knows? Who knows? But in the case of I don't want to be Cootie Brown no more versus Andy and the people, I don't know who's about to win this battle, but we will definitely be watching. Okay. All right. I mean, it is what it is, I am interested to see how it's going to play out because I do remember her story. I do remember Leah pushing for her own sobriety, and I think that's remarkable. You know, I'm always impressed by, not really impressed, but I'm always fascinated by people who have those hard lines and can say, you know, I don't drink, I've never had a drink, you know, or I don't eat meat, I've never had meat. You know, I love that. Those people fascinate me because I'm like, dang, how can I get there? I wish I was plant based, you know, but I like bacon. I do. So with that being said, she was my listen. Dorinda, man, oh man. And so that has me wondering, will they now, who will they look at now to replace Zarin on The Golden Life on E? Will they be calling Dorinda? Where is Tinsley now? Who else is down in the West Palm? You know? Because the girls had already started doing press for this show. That's what makes this so crazy. The girls were doing press. Sonia Morgan was talking to the virtual reality folks. Okay? So they was already doing the rounds, and I don't even know how much they didn't film. They might not have even filmed anything yet. And all these girls already out here talking. Now they was doing so much talking, one of them got herself fired. It just honestly, the whole situation with Jill, it made me not even really care to watch the show. I don't even know if I really want to see it. Like, I mean, at first I was like, oh, that was smart to do that. But now I'm kind of like, ugh. You know, like, now I remember what happened to y'all. Now I remember. Okay. Aha. I get it. Okay. All right, y'all. So listen. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well. That I'm telling you, I might have to go back and watch that episode. Dorinda back in the day, she was hell on wheels. Okay. She was hell on wheels. So I need more Dorinda in my life in some way, shape, or form. That is until she does something crazy too. Hopefully she won't. Cause I think she just, you know, I think she just be an angry drunk. She angry Cootie Brown. I don't know. Meanwhile, that's all the tea we got for now. Oh, big news, big news, big news, big news. All right, so listen. Y'all know we sold out the trip to the Vietnam. Yay. I just got the details on the Bali trip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together probably like an email list. I need to get the people's emails who want to go because I want to make sure that I communicate with the people who want to go first. I want to give you first dibs on Bali. I got the dates. I got the itinerary. I got all of it laid out. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait. So if you are excited about that, type Bali in the chat or in the comments. And we'll make sure you guys get that email list so I can communicate with y'all about the trip. That's about it. That was it. That's what I wanted to say. All right. So with that being said, y'all listen. Oh my God. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much, Crystal. Sending you mad love today. Hopefully you guys. Dang, what come on tonight? Anything come on tonight? No, we got till next week to see Love and Hip Hop. So that'll be back. Okay. Bali. Yeah. Yo, it's gonna be, if you missed our first Bali trip, you don't want to miss this one. Okay. You don't want to miss it. All right. So listen, with that said, I'll make sure to get that information over to you guys as soon as possible. I gotta work on creating the email list tonight. So I'll try to, that'll be on my to-do list and it will be up by at the latest, maybe like tomorrow morning. Okay. So with that, yes, you already know. Man, let me tell you, Bali is amazing. Amazing. Okay. Amazing. ASMR style. Maybe I should do one of these channels too. Oh. Did they cancel? Yeah, this is the last season. I cannot keep up with that one, so you're welcome. I'll tell you shortly. Actually, I got to go back and look at the email. Bloop. But it's in September. It's at the end of September. Like right around the end of September, early October. Yay. Let's go. Okay. All right. So I'll get y'all that information. Stand by. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you haven't. Because sometimes I'll be watching YouTube videos and I'm not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh, yes. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Love y'all.